The following is a production of the Dallas Genealogical Society. For more information, visit us at dallasgenealogy.org.
This is Family Tree RootsMagic 8 for April session being recorded for the Dallas Genealogical Society. We're going to start kind of where we left off with this family. But before we do that, I wanted to tell you that I uploaded to the website for the special interest groups an empty media folder that has all the different folders in it that you might want to use. We talked about this and I decided that it might be helpful if I made this folder for you guys and uploaded it. The census one has all the census years in it. Vital records has birth, marriage, death. And instead of using miscellaneous, I make a folder called special, where things that don't go anywhere else is what I put in this folder. But I also added some pictures or images to this folder that I use to signify what war people fought on and the immigrant ancestor. So if that will help you in getting stuff set up, you can go out to the special interest group, and this is linked out there. He put it up this morning, so it should be available to you. And basically, once you download it, either you rename it or you copy it and paste it into your media folders, which is what I have done here. And remember, I always have a new folder. This is where I put all new images until I get them linked. And then once they're linked, I can move them to the appropriate folder and then fix the link. Well, there's people still coming in, so I may have to start over again. Did that last person get in? Yeah. Okay. So there's this empty media folder up on the website if you need help with media organization. We're going to start where we left off with, I think the 1860 census is where we had looked up and downloaded actually the image into our new folder. And of course, it's going to open on another screen, but that's okay. You can see it because I need the information off of it to link it. Normally, I would link this off of oh, that's the wrong image. Another person. We're going to wait a bit. She get in? Yeah, okay. I'm going to start over again on this. Asa Totten has web hints. Remember, we got his name from Emily's death certificate. And the web hints are from Family Search. The little blue icon means Family Search. If it's yellow, it is My Heritage, and it takes you to My Heritage tree, so it doesn't really help you find new people very easy. But the web hints, these were all confirmed, so somebody has looked at them and decided they're all valid and have utilized them. I usually go through and open all of them if they're confirmed, just to see what they are. If they're not conformed, you only have to click on one of the links and all of them will open in one page. but I'm going to open all of these one at a time and show you things. This is for a death certificate. It says click here for image availability. You have to be at a library or repository. You can't get to it from home. I had already downloaded it. That's why we've been able to use it. But he was indexed in it for her, along with his wife. And of course, this is Emily's information, not his. And then we go to the 1850 census. And I'm going to go on and click on this. He's a child here because I'm curious to see why it's on there twice. That's household 89. I want to see if this is the same household because I don't understand how family search necessarily works. It's the same image. So I don't know why they have it listed twice on there. But all these Louisiana parish records are not his marriage. They're the marriage of his daughter, Emma, and he and his wife are listed as being their parents on her marriage record. And if you click on this, it says you have to be at a library. However, if you click on all of them, it's there on this one. So you can get to it. So it behooves you to click around. And this one's interesting. I mean, I didn't know this woman had married again. But it tells that she is the widow of Norval W. Shouse, which we didn't know she remarried in this family. So this was an interesting little tidbit. But the thing is, it gave her parents' names on it. So you don't always get those kind of goodies, especially in Louisiana. But here again, this one is not there either. So I don't know if there were additional ones available off these other links, or if they just had multiple stuff going on, or maybe it's because they've indexed it under her father's name, her mother's name, her name, and Thompson, and that would be 4, but I don't understand why one hasn't and the rest of them don't. I don't understand their logic. But to find her on the 1860 census, because she was born in 1859, I'm going to go to search, which is the icon with the solid dot in it. You have all these things you can search on. I'm going to actually search ancestry. And I'm going to click this show results in an external browser. And I'm going to really talk about this every time probably, because you want it to open in a new window. You do not want it to open in RootsMagic itself. It's hard to manipulate through RootsMagic. It's going to show her in a lot of different places. So I'm going to actually go to the little edit pencil, and I'm going to put Louisiana. You have to click on the thing that drops down, or it won't find it usually. So I'm only going to tell it to search in Louisiana. I'm going to do similar and sounds like on both of the exacts. I don't use initial on given name because that gives you way too many hints that don't mean anything. SoundX does not work on last name, so I don't use it anymore. So now I'm actually getting her up here. That's funny. They've got that wrong. And there she is in 1860. So I'm going to open this in a new tab. And there it shows her right here. And I don't know why I don't have this one correct in the database. So I'm going to save this one to my computer. And you're going to have to wait a minute while I navigate to the right place, because I was working on another tree last night, and believe it or not, one of my own. Come on, open. And that's what it was supposed to be, but wasn't. Yes. Okay. So her dad is there, her mom, and a sister. Now this date doesn't make any sense, but for wealthy, but we'll figure that out later. So Asa was born he was 21, so that would be 49. So I'm going to go back to my database, people, if it will decide to move. There we go. I'm going to open Asa's edit person box. Let me check on something real quick. It's not running. I have to make sure that thing isn't running. Let me also shut this down. You can tell I have way too many things running all the time, and it slows everything down. Well, there it goes. All right. So I'm going to add his birth of 1849. Hit enter, and he was born in Georgia. I've never entered Georgia before, so it's not in the places yet. It will be after this. Click over here for that to show up. And then under this little, it looks like to me a ink pen head, to add a new source. And since I've already added all those sources like we discussed last time, I'm going to click on 1860 and click next. And he's in there as just A. And so in my source, I put it as it is in the index and on the record. They were in Pine Woods, Catahoula Parish, Louisiana. And I put this name is spelled all different ways. Somebody asked me how did I pick one? Well, in this case, I picked it the way she signed it because she could write. So this is Pinewood, Catahoula, Louisiana. Oops, Parish. And I'm going to click OK. And there's the source. And over here it says media. And right now there's 0. And I'm going to click on the little arrow next to it and say add media. And then I'm going to click on this icon where it says file name. And I have to move this so I can see what I'm doing. I guess I'm in the right place. And there it is. So I'm going to select it, click open, hit enter, and I'm going to give it a caption to it. I'm not going to put the exact same thing as my name of the file. I just put what census it is. Now, some files end up being the same name as what the name is. So that's not always the rule of thumb. So now that's entered. I'm going to memorize it by clicking on this icon that has 2 pages overlapping each other, because that's to memorize this particular item. I'm going to click my back button. I'm going to go up to the little pen and click the paste button. And I'm going to reuse the citation. By reusing the citation, if I decide I want to rename this citation or correct a spelling or something, I can correct it in one and it will fix them all. I can change the media on one and it will fix them all. So it's important to remember that. We're going to add another fact, and it's the residence. And it's for 1860. You have to click enter to get it on there. And then I'm going to come over to where its pen head is and do, reuse citation. And there it is. So I'm going to go back and it all shows all linked. So now I'm going to close this. Now Louisiana was on there. They had her named Louisa, but it's Louisiana is the correct name. I am going to add this source to her name. I'm going to add her birth. She was 19, so she was born in 1851. Oops. Not 1851, 41. I'm getting these dates messed up in my brain. The other one needs to be changed. All right, and she was born in Louisiana. Okay. Hit enter. And I'm going to go to the little pen nub and do reuse. And I'm going to correct his because that should be 39. Okay. And she was on it. And she was 1 year, well, it said she was 2, but we have other records. And I'm going to add that other child. Wealthy. Oops. She's female. And once you get to living, if you just hit your space bar, it will uncheck it so that that living box doesn't stay checked, because that's a default. As far as her birth date goes, I'm going to put 1860. And she was born in Louisiana. Now, since I've already entered Louisiana, Louisiana shows up is a place, and I can just select it and click OK. It's going to open. Oh, it's going to ask me if I want to rearrange the children. I don't. So I'm going to click OK. If you rearrange them, it will sort them in date order. And so now I want to source her birth year. So I'm going to reuse that citation. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to put the source on her name as well and reuse the citation. Now, there are two rules of thought on how to enter the 1860 census on all of the kids, on everybody. You can actually share it from here. The only problem with sharing it, it will show up as a shared fact, but if you're printing off reports and stuff, it's not going to show up. So that's a judgment call that you will have to make. I know that since I've sourced it, I'm not inclined to want to do it another way. I'm going to share it with multiple people. And in this case, it's everybody that's in the database. But you can check them all at the same time. And there they are. Now, you can change the role to something else. And right now, I don't know how to do it in this newer version, but I will find out. And I think I can change them all at the same time. But anyway, the way that now shows up under the other people is right here. And I do want to figure out how to change that name because I want it to say household member. I don't put relationships on the censuses because even though they're stated in some of them, they're not in all of them, and they're not always correct. So that takes care of Asa, Louisiana, Emily, and Wealthy. Now, we'll jump back to that 1850 census that I had located from Family Search. All right, that one, I can do. All right. Where his father and mother are listed, as well as a bunch of siblings. And for the sake of me being it easier for me to do, I'm going to move it to another screen, but I'm going to download it. Once you have selected where you're downloading stuff, it will always go there. If you're working multiple files, you'll have to navigate. But if you're working the same file over and over again, it will always be in the same place. I use head of household for the name of the family. And I don't know where they were, so I will save it and change the name later. They'd already moved to Catahoula. Okay. I'm going to go back in and change that. Show in folder. Well, it opened on another screen. So just a second. Let me rename that. And if you have your computer set up correctly, F2, if the name is selected, will allow you to go in and rename the file. Okay. So now I'm going to drop and drag this over here so I can see it. All right, so I'm going to add a father, Eli. He's dead, so I'm going to click the space button. He was 40 years old in 1850, so that means he was born in 1810. And he was born in Georgia. Oops, I don't know death information yet. You're going to click Alt-O for OK, and it's going to come over here. So now I'm going to add a new source, 1850. Click Next. And this is Eli. And Hill Parish, Louisiana. Click OK. Make sure it shows up here. There are some glitches going on that sometimes some of the sources aren't always showing up. Just realize that, and you may have to enter it more than once. Click on media. I'm going to add that media I added. By clicking on that, there's Eli. And I'll do the same thing here, 1850 census. I don't put everything. That makes the caption too long, and you want to be able to, when you look at your media folder, see stuff by a short name. Okay, I'm going to memorize this and click my back button. And I'm going to put it also on his birth date. Click my back button. And I'm going to add a residence. And it's 1850. Okay. And add the citation here as well. And I'm going to close this. I am now going to go to his family page because I have all the other people to enter. I'm going to add his wife. Her name was Marie. I don't know her last name. She certainly is dead by now. She was 39, so she was born in 1811. And according to the census, she was born in North Carolina. And so after you click OK or do Alt-O, you get to her edit page and you add the source to her name and birth date. I'm going to go on and add the sourcing to ASA. Oops. I always forget to click the back on these once I've done a source. It's too easy to click the close. And now I'm going to add all his siblings. Sarah J. was 18, so that would be 32 in Georgia. See that sort by birth date? See how the S is underscored? I don't know if you can see that. The O is here, the U is here, and the D is here. If you do an Alt S, it will sort in date order. You also have the choice, if you don't know birth dates, but you know there's an oldest child that you may not know the birth date, you can keep them up at the top by sorting them, by moving up and down. But I'm going to do Alt S. And you see that it changed and put her on top. She was born first. Now Alt O, and her edit box comes open. And I will put the source on her name. And on her birthday. You want to enter everybody that is on this record that you know about while you have that citation memorized. So now I'm going to add another child, Lucinda. And she was 16, so that's 1834, Georgia. Here again, it's going to ask me if I want to sort. And I'm going to add the source to her name and birth date. There are many parts of genealogy that a lot of people would consider boring because it's very repetitive. However, every once in a while, you can get some real interesting stories and things pop up. So it behooves you to make sure you get everything, because the story may come on another person or through another person that's in the tree and not on your person or your direct line person. So you want to look at everybody. And of course, you want to source them. So that you know where that name came from and that information you put in. And see, here's one of those that's deciding it's not wanting to go. So I'm going to go back. There it goes. All right. And now I have another one. I don't think the person that did the census record knew how to spell this name because it's kind of weird and weird. But we'll go with that. And he was 8, so that's 1842 in Georgia. Okay. And now I don't need to sort. Oh, I didn't enter one. And hopefully it will work. Yep. And on his birthday. That's it. After a while, it becomes kind of rote. Oh, this is Eli. Am I putting these people in the wrong place? Yes. No. I think Eli and Asa are the same person. Okay, so let's go that way. Gabriel. I think there's other records to prove that. And Gabriel was 7, so that's 1843. After, you're looking for a specific person, and once you get to his birth date, you get past it. You don't have to sort anymore. You're entering them in date order. Well, see, it doesn't like that. Let me do it. There. And the twins. 46. It doesn't like it. I had one the other day that it took me about 4 times before it finally decided it would do it.
You have 1946.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I will fix that before we leave this page. Okay. Did it save it? Yeah. Okay. And on the census, it has the name of New for the last one, but he's 4 years old, so I think it's supposed to be Newton. So they named twins, Newton and Jasper. I think that's funny because most of the time it's Jasper Newton. Okay, and the date there again is 1846 in Georgia. Okay. Okay. And try to source this one. Yeah. Not there. Okay. So those kids are all there. Now I wanted to show you what it did to media. Over here, the media has one tag. That's to the source. And if you go look at the source, it is linked to 26 different things. That 1861 was linked to 9. And somehow some of them got missed. So that's an easy way of checking to make sure you didn't boo-boo anywhere. Now then, we're going to go back to, this is the only one that we have other people on because the little arrow was there. And let me see if I make sure I have that over in there. Yeah. Now, they do have a marriage record, Elijah in Louisiana. And now that I've put that, it's not showing up on family search. So I'm going to go back and search Elijah Asa now on Ancestry. I don't have to reset this unless I'm going to move where I'm going to, what database. I usually do Ancestry. And interesting. I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to leave nothing on the name, and I'm going to put in Louisiana. Exact. Now, note that in Exact, you have some other alternatives, state and adjacent states or country. If you put in a county name, you can search the counties around it. And that will even cross state lines. So like if you've got a county that's on the state line, it will look in the other state as well if you do the county, if you're doing a county search. See, here's a compiled marriage record. Then it has A. Eli Taunton, married to Louisiana. It does not have the record located here. And I was going to see if there was anything that I had missed. His brother Isaiah is here a lot and they're pulling it. So that's him. So I know that they got married in Catahoula, 25 March, 1857. It's going to ask if you want to add a new spouse or if this is the one that is selected is the right one. It is in this case. But if you have multiple wives, this is one of the ways you can add additional spouses. If you have a marriage record, just move down to add a new spouse and it will open an edit box. But in this case, Louisiana is correct. So we're going to Alt O. And now I can't remember the date. 25 March 57. Come on. 25 March 1857. Catahoula. And now I'm going to, well, did I? Yeah, it did. Okay. So now I'm going to add a source here. This is a county court record. Now in Louisiana, they're called parishes, but they're equal to counties. The reason they're called parishes is Louisiana is under French rule, and all their records are a little named differently than anywhere else in the United States. So anyway, it's a county court record. The citation is Catahoula Parish, Louisiana. It's a marriage record. A lot of the records in Louisiana are loose papers. They're not in books. But if they are in books, you can put the volume in the book name. But this one, I think, was in a book, and I'm trying to get it to open. There it goes. So I can read it. And I don't know what book this is, but I'm just going to put what I normally put here, and that is the name that is on the record, and it's A.E. Taunton in Louisiana, Hawthorne. And I'm going to click OK. Now, I was able to find this record in another location. I can't remember if I'm pretty sure I got it off of microfilm somewhere because of the quality of the image. Anyway, I named marriages by the last name of the husband and the last name of the wife. Now, if it's a wife's second marriage and I know her maiden name, I put the maiden name and then I use a hyphen and the name that she's married under so that you know that that was not her maiden name. A lot of people make the mistake of looking at that other marriage and making that her maiden name. But that's why I do it the way I do it. So I'm giving myself additional signals. So here's the marriage record. I'm going to open it. And the citation is Taunton and Hawthorne marriage record. And this one ends up being the same as, the name I named the file. And while I'm here, I'm going to memorize this. I'm going to back up, scroll up, and I'm going to attach it to him. And then I'm going to attach it to her name. And I'm going to drag this is the record. The license was up at the top, and where they actually got married was down at the bottom of this. And then you got the next record. But he signed it A. Eli, or his mark. Evidently, she could write. And there's the name of the justice of the peace and their witnesses. So I'm going to come back up here to his name. And I'm going to put in Eli as his nickname. So that when I look at him now, that nickname will show up. And I'm sure the reason that some of his things are not Eli's because his dad was an Eli. Okay. Let's see, I've got all those records entered. So the next thing to look for is to try to figure out, you want to figure out when he died and when the others died. There's a lot of records for wealthy here. Texas death. Oh, well, that's interesting. She was not a Slocum, but that's a child's record. Let's see what else there is. So this is the 1900 census. If you look over on the right-hand side, you can see a slide bar, and it can tell you kind of sort of where it is if you're using Ancestry. If you're using, Family Search, if you're using Ancestry, it will usually highlight where they are on the record. This actually tells you when she was born, September of 49. And she married a Seaborn prince. So I am actually going to use that record. So she was, oh, that's strange. She wasn't a Taunton. And she's not even Louisiana's child. If she was born in 49. So I have a question. I have to figure out who that child is. I wonder if she's a younger sister of Louisiana. Let's see if we have an 1850 census for Louisiana. Mm-mm. See, I know that Asa died. This Asa died during the Civil War, I'm pretty sure. There's no record, there's no nothing, there's no probate, there's no nothing. But if I change this and I put in what was it, September 1849. It's going to come up with that. That means that there is a warning something doesn't work right, and it's going to come up and say that her mother was not old enough, and neither was her dad. So that is an issue that we will have to resolve as we work this file. All right, I am going to stop the share and let y'all ask questions, or stop the recording, and if I can figure out how to do that. Come on. Stop recording.
This has been a production of the Dallas Genealogical Society. If you are already a member, thank you. If you are not a member, please consider joining today by visiting dallasgenealogy.org and clicking on the membership tab.